Arizona's primaries will take place this week, just days after Senator John McCain died at 81. McCain had been diagnosed with brain cancer just over a year ago. The Arizona senator is being remembered across the nation as an iconic political figure and maverick. His death also raises questions around the future of the Republican Party in Arizona. Editor and publisher at the Tucson Sentinel, Dylan Smith, joins us now. Dylan, first of all, who are the potential contenders to fill John McCain's seat, and what does that process look like?
Well, the process is pretty simple. It's up to the governor to decide. Governor Doug Ducey gets to appoint someone who will serve through not this general election, but the next general election coming up in 2020. And that person who was elected then will serve out the final 2 years of what was John McCain's term. We've heard a number of names floated, and some of them seem to be given some political considerations, probably not as likely as others, given the state of the Republican Party nationally. And I mean, I would assume, and we're hearing that the Arizona Republicans are looking for somebody who can work effectively with President Trump. And a lot of those folks who are being talked about are not going to be those people. Cindy McCain, given the contentious relationship between John McCain and President Trump, is probably not on that shortest of short lists. Somebody else we've heard about, former Arizona Attorney General Grant Woods, is probably also not on that list because he's somebody who endorsed Hillary Clinton last time around. There are some others who may be a short-term placeholder through that next election cycle, somebody like former Senator John Kyle. But there hasn't been a whole lot of public discussion about this from the governor's side. Of course, he's flat out said for the past year that anybody who approached him to try and get this nomination would pretty much eliminate themselves.
Let's turn to the Arizona primaries taking place on Tuesday. How much of an influence was Senator McCain in these upcoming elections?
Well, I think especially in the other Senate race that we have going on to fill the seat of Jeff Flake, who's retiring, people have been on the Republican side basically running against the legacy of John McCain and trying to get as far away from him as possible and get as cozy with President Trump as possible. And that's because of the considerations of a Republican primary race where you've got very active Tea Party folks. That's kind of really been a different thing than in the past, where for decades now, John McCain has been a driving force in federal elections in Arizona. Now we're seeing kind of a reaction against that. And that was true, well before even his cancer diagnosis last year. And some of the other races, and the congressional races especially, some of those are going to be very hard fought, and some pretty important ones, especially down here in Tucson and southern Arizona.
Well, and Democrats are looking to replace incumbent Governor Doug Ducey. Does it look like Ducey will be able to hold on to his position?
Doug Ducey has been not the most popular of governors with the Tea Party contingent, but amongst the broader group of Republicans, he's still a solidly respected mainstream business Republican, and it's going to be very, very hard for any of the three Democratic candidates, depending on who comes out of that primary tomorrow, to take him on and get him out of office. It's going to be an uphill battle for any of them, quite frankly.
All right, we'll be watching closely. Dylan Smith, thanks very much for your insight. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.